What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk about my typical routine before I go running. So I used to actually not do much before my runs. I would just do a couple light jump rope steps, or just something like to lightly to warm up my lower body. But I started realizing that I would get really tight after my runs. So I started adding this routine in where basically I start by foam rolling. So before I even put my shoes on, I typically go through a foam rolling session, right? So where I typically start with my hamstrings, I get to my IT band, my quads, and I get my whole calf, and then as well as my glutes. This kind of helps break down some of that lactic acid that's in my lower body. After I go through like a 5 to 8 minute foam rolling session, I typically go right into like light calf stretches. And the calves are pretty much the only muscle that I stretch before going into runs. And I'm talking about super light, where you're basically just putting your hands against a wall and you're basically pushing your weight through the wall, and then you're kind of stretching out that back calf. And I think that this has helped me in terms of one, activating that lower body, especially as you start running. Most people don't start with their first mile being their fastest mile. That typically is like a warm-up mile. So keep that in mind, that as you start running, that first mile is going to be more of a warm-up as well. So my routine that I typically do before leaving the house isn't really warming up my body. It's really just prepping the mechanics and the muscles just to prepare for the run. So after I foam roll, I lightly stretch my calves, and then I just go through some ankle mobility. So I basically just put my toes into the ground, and I'm just putting my ankle in circles. And what this does is it creates that range of motion in your ankle, especially when you're not that warmed up yet. You don't want to just leave your house with super tight muscles, especially in your ankle, because that's really what's hitting the ground most as you're running. So I typically like to loosen that up. Just so if you step on like a pothole or a rock, you don't want that to be what kind of tweaks an ankle or maybe even just strains something in your ankle. So keep that in mind. So after rolling out my ankles, I would then put on my running shoes and lace them up and do like some light jogging in place, almost like you're doing a jump rope, just to activate the calves one last time. And then from there, I would just head out and I would start my run. At that point, your legs are somewhat warmed up. You got the foam rolling in, you did a light stretch with your calves, and then you rolled out your ankles as well. At that point, you should be ready to rock and roll with your run, regardless if you're just going for a mile or maybe you're going for a longer run, 4+ miles or more, whatever it might be. But that should get you activated, ready to go for a run. And when you guys come back from that run, make sure you guys get a deep stretch in. This is where you have the opportunity to really get a nice stretch in and lengthen out those muscles after a long run. But this was just a quick video today, just talking through what I typically do before I go running. If you guys liked the video or gained any value from it, I love it if you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you guys get notified when I push out my next video. But that's all I got for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.